Lori Gerard who'll be speaking, and Glenda Thibodeau that'll be speaking at the appropriate time. Michael Thibodeau, DOC number 540852. You are a first-class offender. Parole eligibility date 11/25/2015. Good time, not only for good time date, full term date 3/17/2030. 22-year sentence. Aggravated incest. Contributed to delinquency of minor. That sound correct? 2 counts of aggravated incest. That sound correct?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, Mr. Thibodeau?
49 years old.
How long have you been incarcerated?
14 and a half years.
You also have Miss Lexi Trahan, who will be the victim, will be speaking today as well. How long have you been incarcerated?
14 and a half years.
Okay. What do you currently do there at the facility? You do anything? You work? You do anything? What do you do?
Well, currently I'm a mentor / CT tutor. I've been a certified mentor with the transition program, and currently with the Vets Mentorship Program. And I'm also a certified CTE tutor with NCCR, the National Center for Education and Research out of Florida.
Okay. What were you doing before you were incarcerated? What kind of work were you doing?
I was a captain on the offshore tugboat.
So you were out for so long and in for so long?
Yes, sir. I was normally working, depending on if I was in the country or out the country. Normally, for every 2 days I was gone, I was back for 1 day. 14 and 7, 16 and 30.
Tell me, what kind of classes have you taken? I know you're a tutor and a mentor. You told me that. Have you taken sex offender treatment? Have you taken the 4 phases of that?
No, sir, I have not. I am currently on the backlog list. I've been on the backlog list. I've been trying to get in it.
Okay, working on that.
I have contacted people in Ville Platte and set it up, and they understand when I come home. They told me to contact them, and I will be enrolled in sex offenders treatment in Ville Platte upon my release.
Hey, well, Lexi, if you have opportunity to take it there, you need to take it there. You need to get it as soon as you can. What is your plans if you were to be released? Where are you going to go? What you going to do?
Well, my mother, I plan on going to stay with my mother out in Leonville. That's my immediate release plan, going there. Continuing what I've been doing, going to AA. I have several job offers. My brother-in-law, he works at Weeks Marine. They told me I have a job opportunity to go see him. They also with different places in Appaloosa doing construction work. Several people have expressed to my dad that they would be willing to hire me.
Tell me about your drug and alcohol problem. You had a drug and alcohol problem?
Alcohol.
No drugs?
I did a little drugs when I was younger, when I was a teenager. I went through rehab. I went through rehabilitation when I was 15. I left the drugs alone, but I forgot one thing: alcohol is still a drug. And I continued on, and I couldn't see what I was doing with my drinking. And I've been an active member here with AANA, and that's one of the things that I know I got to continue on. Need that support. And
hospital stays? You got some medical condition or something?
Excuse me?
Have you had some medical conditions? Have you been in a hospital or had some hospital stays?
I was in the hospital back in May for 4 days. I had a real bad staph infection, and I was in the hospital for 4 days in Baton Rouge.
You don't have any type of medical conditions though?
Blood pressure, it's mild, I take mild blood pressure medicine and,
Nothing out of the ordinary.
yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
All right, well, so let's get to the crime, since this is a pretty significant crime. I went through it line by line, nothing good about it. Tell me about it. Tell me what was going on. You said you were drinking. Tell me about it.
Well, it's never easy.
I know it's not easy, but you in there for it, so you might as well be able to learn to live with it. So you need to tell me about it.
Right. Alcohol. I'm not trying to justify it or trying to blame anything else. I take full responsibility for what I did. There's no denying that alcohol played a big part on some of my decisions I made. Wasn't thinking clearly. I took advantage of people when I shouldn't have taken advantage of them. And I'm very remorseful for what I've done. There's no amount of words that I can speak to y'all or to anybody that can ever take away what I've done.
How long was it going on?
Altogether, probably about a couple months. I would say maybe 2 months.
You say, and you were just drunk the whole time? You were drinking every day? What was going through your mind?
It wasn't one day that I wasn't drinking. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that was the only reason it happened. I guess attention, loneliness, it's be honest with you.
Yeah, be honest with you.
I don't even know. I don't know what I was thinking. I wanted what I wanted. And if I wasn't happy, nobody else around me could be happy.
Yeah, like I said, that sex offender treatment would really help you. I tell you, learn a whole lot about that. You need some victim awareness of some things you need.
I have all the books.
Yeah.
I have the books. I have been reading. I have been studying.
No, I believe you, but it's one thing reading, one thing going through the courses. That's important. Warden, you got any input for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Kelsey. He's done real well here over the years. He's done a lot of good programs. He's been a facilitator and mentor program for years. I guess none of that can take away the impact of that victim at all, but he has done real well. He hasn't had a write-up, I think, since 2014. I would like to see him get sex offender treatment and victim impact, and him and I spoke about that. He does have a real good family support. In fact, I met his dad at visitation last weekend, but I do believe he needs that treatment.
All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Ms. Perwise.
Sir, I was on the panel last time and there was some discussions about you reaching out to the victims. Has that occurred again? Have you tried to reach out to your victims?
Did you try to reach out to them?
Did I try to reach out toward the victims?
Yes or no?
I've spoken to her. I was on the phone with my dad, and she got on the phone and talked to me once and asked me to write her. And
You did?
I wrote to my dad. I wrote a letter and I sent it to my dad, and I expressed that it was her choice if she wanted to read it or not. That was about I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
That was your last hearing was in 19, so that was, have you reached out to or had any contact with it since 2019?
No, ma'am.
19. And you tell me what you think about this, and as I heard you talk, and you tell me what you think. You want to help everybody else address their problem, but you don't want to sit down, do some FaceTime, and address your own problem by getting in that class. Could that be it?
I have no problem with getting into class. When I got here, in fact, the day I got sentenced in front of Judge Watney, I spoke to him and I asked him to make it that I told him I wanted help.
Okay.
I asked him in court, that I wanted help. And as soon as I got here to Hunt, I told him, I signed up for the classes. They told me I was on the backlog list. Since 2019, Warden Staggs contacted mental health to try to get me into class. I never heard, he assured me that he was gonna get me in class. And I haven't heard anything from them. I have written mental health to try to get into classes, and they keep telling me on the backlog list. Since the pandemic, they're just starting everything back up now. They're telling me that they're trying to finish up those classes that they already have gone from before the pandemic. And I have no problem. I want it. I want the help.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I am so glad to hear that. Thank you for answering my questions. That's all I have, Chairman.
Okay. Now we'll hear from Ms. Lori. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Thibodeau, you could. I apologize. I wasn't paying. Yeah, Ms. Thibodeau, you go ahead. You can make your statement, and then Lori can make your statement.
Yes, my name is Glenda Thibodeau. I'm Michael's mother. It's been a long road. It's been almost 15 years. If Michael is granted parole, I'm willingly and gladly have Michael come stay with me over here. And my daughter lives right next door to me. We have a lot of support from Michael over here. We're all wanting him to come out, and we're all seeing the changes Michael has made. And even since his last parole of 19, we've seen even bigger changes that have gone through with Michael. He has done so much to try to better himself. Michael is not the same person that went in there 14 years ago. He is entirely different. I mean, we go visit, his dad goes visit, we all visit him, and every once in a while, probably his dad more, but we're all gonna be very supportive of Michael, and we will make sure Michael gets to his classes and does what he needs to do to stay on track. I'm just begging, thank you, and try to grant him his parole. I really think Michael is ready to come home. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right, Ms. Lori.
My name is Lori Gerard. I am Michael's oldest sister and only sibling. And I hate to say Mom said most of what I wanted to say too, but I go through a lot. I'm an educator and I see a lot of different things. And I have seen my brother grow so much over these last few years. And like Mom said, even more so since his last hearing. He has just put himself out there. He's taken the classes, he's teaching the classes, he's become a trustee, he's doing mentoring. I mean, I can't even name everything. If I'm not mistaken, we sent a book to y'all of all his accomplishment, all his certificates and things like that he has. And again, like Mom said, he's not the same person that went in there. He has changed. He has grown. He's matured more than you can ever imagine. And again, I'm really proud of him, and I'm really hoping he comes home. We need him home. We need to be here with him and help him to support him the rest of the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Now we'll hear from Miss Lexi Trahan.
Hello.
I can hear you now.
Okay. I just want to say that, okay, so I was 13 when this man, a man that is supposed to be my father, a man that is supposed to protect me, sexually assaulted me. I was 13. I have been through so much because of what he has done to me. If he's changed, that's all fine and dandy, but I don't want, I'm supposed to have 22 years of safety and peace of mind, that he can't hurt me, that he can't come for me and my family. And as far as him saying that I asked him to write me, I never asked him to write me. He asked if it would be okay to write me, to be able to explain why he did what he did to me. And I got the same excuse in that letter of why he did what he did. And that was 4 years ago. He had 10 years at that point to actually explain what he did, why he did it. And yes, I foolishly accepted the letter. I admit that. But as his child, I wanted to know why my life was so invaluable to him. I have been to numerous counselors. I'm still on medication because I have panic attacks. I do not, I should not have to give up my peace of mind because he wants to be out early and not accept his full sentence. Because I don't get to get out of this early. I will deal with this for the rest of my life. And I understand he has a great support system. I understand he's done all this work. And I commend him on that, for trying to better himself. But it shouldn't have, that's what he's supposed to do. That's what he needs to do. He has always been a manipulator, and to get out of what he is supposed to be doing. And I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Finish up. Yes, ma'am.
And the alcohol did not, it did not play as big of a part in the situation that he makes it out to be, because he knew what he was doing. He told me it was because I looked like my mom and he missed my mom. That is why he did what he did to me.
Thank you so much.
I should not have to live. I should not have to live like this.
Yes, ma'am. So sorry to hear. So sorry. Thank you for your, thank you so much. All right, Michael, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead. Speak to the board.
You know, as I sit here listening to her, Everything she said is absolutely correct. As a father, I was supposed to be her protector. I was supposed to be her teacher. I was supposed to be her guide. And I was just supposed to be her father. Because of my selfishness, because of my self-centeredness, I did those things to her. There is no excuse whatsoever. You know, it's never been easy for me to admit guilt about anything I've done in my life. I've always tried to blame everything and justify everything that I did on somebody else. It was always somebody else's fault. I stand up today and I admit this was my fault. Mr. Roche, I'm glad to see you. 3.5 years ago, I made a promise to you that I was going to continue to do everything I can in my life to improve my life. And it's not going to stop. I gave you my commitment back then. I'm going to give it to you again today. Whether I'm in here or back out into society that deemed me unfit to be amongst them 14.5 years ago, I'm going to do everything I can in my power. I want to take the classes. I have it set up. I will take them. I will continue with my rehab, with support of AANA. I will not go anywhere outside of where I'm not supposed to be. I do not want to come back to prison. And I will do everything in my power. And I understand that the victim and her family have reasons they don't want me out. I understand. No amount of words can ever take back what I've done. So
All right.
I do have great support. And I do believe that with the support system I have and with the tools that I've gained in here, I can come out there and be a productive citizen. And I thank y'all for this opportunity.
All right. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate your comment. Panel prepared to vote. I'll vote first. Michael, yes, sounds like you're heading in the right direction for sure. You're doing some good things in there. But look, I've been pretty consistent since I've been on this board. You know, somebody with your charges, and until you complete sex offender treatment, I'm just not going to be able to help you. I'm not going to be able to consider you to be released. I would encourage you to get your sex offender treatment, victim awareness, whatever you need to do. It's a terrible crime. I know it is bad, but you need to continue to work on yourself, and the sex offender treatment plays a huge role for that. So you got to have a law enforcement opposition, victim opposition, and you haven't taken the class. So for those reasons, I vote to deny. Ms. Wise.
Lexi, I want to appreciate you and applaud you for showing up and letting your voice be heard. You're doing a lot better than you think you are. You really are. And to Mr. Michael, my vote is the same for the same reasons.
Mr. Rocha.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael, good morning. I'm glad to see that you're continuing to move forward in trying to create a new beginning. But I'm going to vote to deny your request this morning. And the primary reason, as a victim advocate, the victim of this crime, your daughter, is not ready for your release. She's still mentally, physically, and emotionally affected by the offenses, and she is not ready. The second reason is that you have no sex offender treatment. You can read all the books you want, but until you go through the first 3 phases and absorb all the information, and then in the 4th phase, you sort of regurgitate the information as a facilitator and go over that information again in helping to teach the course. You will not fully understand the damage that you've done to your daughter. And you have overwhelming opposition from the judge, the DA's office, law enforcement, the victim, and the victim's family. You've always gonna have that. But get the sex offender treatment, continue what you're doing now, and it might be a different story next time. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, you have 3 votes to deny your parole. Today, your parole's been denied. And let's see, that'll be it for Hunt. We'll adjourn at Hunt at 9:20. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you, Warden.
Yeah.
A little manipulative cockroach. And I'm not sure who's a bigger cockroach, huh? Is it her father or is it her grandmother? Her grandmother gets up and does not back her own granddaughter? No, instead she sits for her son, for the man, for the roach who did that to his own daughter, your granddaughter? Shame on you. Shame on you. These disgusting creatures, they exist. These roaches, they crawl amongst us. How dare you? Same to his aunt, her aunt, his sister. What is wrong with you? How can you stand up and not back your granddaughter? How is it that she is sitting there alone? You hear her on the phone, shaking and trembling. And she warns the board. She lets the board know. She says he is manipulative, and you see it in every step of the way of this hearing, down to his final statement. He says everything she says is right, but he needs to get his last words and say, but I have my support system. I'm good. She was 13 years old. 13. What a terrible interview by Kelsey. He has no business doing any hearings except revocation hearings. Cutting off the victim. And he has his fake, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry. He was supposed to be my father. She says, I'm supposed to have 22 years of safety. He says, I did it because I was selfish, because I was self-centered. What does that even have? No, you did it because you're a roach, because you're a despicable excuse of a human being. You don't have business walking amongst us. You don't have business ever stepping out of that prison cell. He's still locked up. This hearing took place in 2022. September 2022, a year and 2 months ago, almost to the date of this recording. I don't have any documents to share on this, sadly. It doesn't exist because he just took a plea deal. And you would think that maybe a district attorney would say, this is important to me. This is important that I stand with the child, that I make sure this child knows Now he served at the time of this hearing 14 and a half years. So she's close to 30 and she still sounded like, in my opinion, on the phone. She still sounded like that little girl. But he's going to get out soon. I think he only has about 5 years left on his sentence. And hey, we may even see him in another parole hearing. But let's say he does serve all 5 years. I think he'll be about 56, 57 by the time he gets out. And are you kidding me? How many children can he harm? Countless. While he's being coddled by his in denial mother and sister. How many? How many more? You cannot do this to your own child and ever have a right to walk amongst us. But the DAs, they don't care. They kick the ball down the road and they say, what's the big deal? And 22 years is actually pretty good for Louisiana. I mean, we've seen much less for crimes where the child's 3 years old, their own child. But this is a travesty. Had he been possession with intent to distribute, had he robbed a bank, much longer sentence. But his own daughter, yeah. Yeah, if you didn't see it, you might not believe it. That's why we do this. That'll let you go.
As a second felony offender, office, attempt aggravated rape, sentencing date November 4th, 1998, sentenced to a total of 50 years, parole date August 1st, 2021, good time not eligible, full term August 6th, 2047. Is this information correct, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Granazzo.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Done.
I'm good. How are you today?
Good.
Can you hear me okay? I'm having some technical issues. Want to be sure you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay. So, Mr. Wilson, you're 63?
64.
64. And you've been in jail how long?
Since 97.
Well, how many years is that?
That's 23 years.
23 years. Okay. So almost 24 years of a 50-year sentence, and you're classified as a second offender. So you're here today for an attempted aggravated rape. And did you know your victim?
Yeah.
How did you know the victim?
I used to work for the victim.
You used to work for the victim? So tell me what happened.
I was on some drugs and alcohol, and I went to the house to get some money. And I sexually assaulted her.
So why were you going to that house to get money?
I worked for her.
Well, as I mentioned, you're a second offender, and your first offense was in 1979, many years prior, but that was also involved a rape. Correct?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken sex offender treatment?
No, I have. Over here.
Now you have? I know. When did you complete it?
I've been to complete the class. I'm in one right now. Thank you for making a change for good.
No, I said, when did you complete sex offender treatment? Those classes.
Back in 2004, somewhere in there.
How many phases of that program did you complete?
They got 4 phases.
You finished all 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I see your priors also include, DWI in 1991, and you mentioned you had substance, alcohol and drug issues. Is that right?
Yeah.
What was your drug of choice?
Alcohol.
No marijuana?
Cocaine, something like that.
What do you mean something like that? Tell me.
Cocaine, marijuana.
How often did you, drink or do the drugs?
5, 6 days a week.
Every day. So what have you done to address, since you've been in jail, almost 25 years, what have you done to address your addiction? You think you were addicted to alcohol and drugs?
Well, I took a lot of self-help program classes. And, it shows me about me, the problem I have.
Tell me about those classes. What was the name of the class?
One of them was Kid and Raging.
That's an anger management.
Yeah. The other one was making a change for good.
Okay, good. Which classes were specifically geared to substance abuse?
Kid and Raging.
That's an anger management class.
Yeah, just substance
right?
abuse.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What did you say?
The anger management, you said substance abuse class.
Any
Right.
AA or NA or any of that?
Oh yeah, I got it now. NA. I spend the ongoing treatment NA.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. I understand. So are you enrolled in anything now?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what classes are you taking now?
Making a change for good. And I just finished AVAL.
What was that one?
AVAL.
AVAL. What's that about? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one. Can you tell me?
Victim awareness.
Mr. Wilson.
It's about victim awareness.
Oh, okay. Victim awareness. Okay. What did you learn? What did you learn about the impact you have had on your victim when you took in what you've had so far in the victim awareness?
Learned that abusive behavior. I've learned about how to not to hurt anyone, not to take control of anyone, thoughts of action.
Okay. And so for the attempted aggravated rape, how do you think that affected your victim?
Emotionally, that affected emotionally and physically. That affected probably worse, bad.
If you could.
It froze up. Can you repeat that, Ms. Renaza?
Yes, thank you. If you could speak to your victim, what would you say?
I would really apologize to tell her how very sorry I really am for causing her the pain and stress in her life.
Yeah, I'm sure that she's still impacted by your actions. Do you believe that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's go back to your programs that you take, and you have a good conduct record. You only have 6 write-ups, and 2 of those are low court write-ups. And your last one was in 2015, and it was low court. So you've got a really good conduct record. I see that you work in the kitchen.
Yes, ma'am.
How long you been in the kitchen?
Since 2009.
Long time. What do? You're a cook or a baker or what?
Cook. Pot cook.
Okay, good. Are you a deacon in the faith-based community?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you get involved in the faith-based programming?
Well, I was involved in the faith-based program in Angola. And I brought it from Angola to here.
What would be your residence plan, Mr. Wilson? If you were successful?
Resident plan is I have a friend named Innocent Palmer. He would give me a job, and my resident plan would be with Tommy Smith. He would give me a place to stay in Slidell.
You have any family?
Well, I have a daughter. She just recently started emailing me. My youngest daughter.
Well, good. Y'all are starting to build a relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good to hear. What about the I see in the packet I have the Veterans Housing Ministries as a possible
That's
residence plan for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You familiar with that? Are you a veteran?
No, ma'am.
No.
Not a veteran. The church came out and affiliated with the church here. So that's how I got to meet him.
Oh, okay. So okay. So you know Miss Lisa Carey?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Why do you think we ought to consider you for early release, considering the nature of your crime?
I can't bring back what I've done, but I'm going forward in my life, and I'm trying to do the right thing, and I'm trying to be a better person. I won't have to be able to hurt anyone, neglect nobody. It's been a rough road. The pain I had was inside of me, caused me to hurt other people. So now that I've come to know these classes show me in what direction to go and how to handle my situation, and choosing the right thing to do and making the right choices in my life.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for talking to me. I'd like to ask Warden Day for his input.
Yes, ma'am. With talking with Lionel and looking through his record, he does only have a few write-ups since he's been incarcerated. And a good thing for him, none of them were sexual in nature. It's frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
He did complete the sex offender 4 phases, 2010 through 2012, and also AA and NA 12-step in 2017. He works here. He does have some affiliation with the ministry here. I think that he has a hard time articulating really what he means sometimes with what he's saying. I do have a little bit of a concern with this residence plan, and I wish it were a little bit more solid. But other than that, he is a good offender here at RCC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mrs. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Wilton, I want to ask you a couple of things. You were the yard man, the landscaping person for Miss Holloway.
Yeah.
So that's how you knew her. You did work around her house.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I have to say, it's really concerning to me that you have 2 convictions for rape. You know, you had one in 1979. You served your time, you got out, and you went back and you did the same thing, or you attempted to do the same thing. How can I be comfortable knowing that you won't do this again?
Okay.
What would give me confidence that you won't do this again?
Secretary LeBlanc just came and knocked on the door.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Okay. Mr. Wilson, did you hear me? How can I be comfortable given the fact that you had already had a rape before you committed this crime? How can I be comfortable that you won't do this again?
Because of my experience now in the ministry and the love I have for other people now, I will not let anything like that cause me to hurt anybody.
Well, what happens if you get those urges? You know, when you take substance abuse treatment programs, they give you some tools. They teach you what to do when you get those urges. What makes you think you won't get those urges again? And if you do, how would you deal with them?
I would apply I would apply the tools to my situation.
What tools? Tell me what those tools are.
The tools are the words that will help me, enable me to use the tools. The tools is how could I put this? The tools is what I've learned.
Okay, but what have you learned? That's what I'm trying to get. What have you learned that if that urge came up to have sex with somebody that didn't want to have sex with you, what have you learned that would prevent you from giving in to that thought?
The method of the lesson, the method of the lesson.
I know, but what is that method? I know you have trouble expressing yourself, Mr. Wilson. I understand that. But what method did they teach you in sex offender treatment to deal with maybe those urges that might come up in the future? What method did they teach you?
To apply the behavior. To apply the behavior.
What behavior?
The sexual behavior. To apply the principle to the sexual behavior that you want to be able to crave for the for sexual behavior.
Well, you're not telling me what you. Okay, let's say you get out there and you see some woman, and you find that you have this urge that's in you because you've done it twice, so it's got to be in you, and you get this urge that you think you want to have sex with this woman, what are you going to do?
What I want to do.
What methods will you use to prevent yourself from doing what you've done before? What have you learned in your classes that will help you with that?
The steps, the process, the steps that are.
Okay, so what are those steps? What are those processes? I know you're frustrated. Just think about it.
Well, Mr. Wilson, I see you're struggling, and I don't want to, have you keep struggling, but those are the questions, and that's still my concern, that you don't have the tools, or you don't understand the tools well enough to even tell me what you would do if that urge came up, and that concerns me. But thank you for talking with me. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Wilson, would you like to make a closing statement?
Yes, sir. I'm very sorry for the pain and the suffering I caused everybody. Due to my past experience in life, now that I've been incarcerated, I've learned to evaluate my situation, to apply what I've learned. I've learned some things that I just can't. Anger is a secondary emotion. So in order for me to know about anger, I have to identify with that anger, and then I could apply what I've learned, which is the solution to the problem that I'm dealing with, and able me to help myself not to make a bad decision, but to make the right decision and to go on in life and live. I just need an opportunity, man, to just to be there, because my daughter, she goes through a lot of pain right now because I'm not there, and I just want the opportunity just to be with her, to help her along the way. I just ask for opportunity, man, to be back in society, and I appreciate this opportunity here to this board that I didn't have an opportunity. I just thank y'all for the opportunity for the component board. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Is the panel ready to vote? Ms. Renata?
You're muted.
You muted.
Thank you. I appreciate everything you said, Mr. Wilson. And I understand that you have a hard time expressing yourself, but we get that often. So I think we heard what you meant. I have some real concerns about you, sir. You don't have a solid transition plan. I don't see any support here for you. You're not able to give us confidence in what you learned in the sex offender treatment program on how you would deal with when you're faced with another similar situation. My vote today is going to be to deny you parole based on the lack of a transition plan, with encouragement to if Warden Day can help you, to repeat the sex offender treatment class, and maybe take a Thinking for Change class, and then reapply when eligible. In the meantime, be working on a real solid transition plan about where you're going to live. You're going to have challenges about where you can live and where you can't live. And maybe you just weren't prepared today because you didn't realize that you were going to be able to come up for parole, but you got some more work to do, sir. That's my vote.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mrs. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Wilson, I feel the same way as Ms. Renata. I'm just not comfortable that you have the tools you need to get out. It bothers me that you can't tell me anything that you can apply from your sex offender treatment. And so I would like to see you complete that program, as well as thinking for a change. And also, I agree with Ms. Renata. You know, you say you've got a friend that you can live with, but friends aren't the same as family. And friends can get tired of you and want to put you out, more so than a family member might. And I'm just not confident that you have things in place that are going to keep you out. You can get out today and be back tomorrow. And so I don't want to see that happen. So I'm going to encourage you to repeat the sex offender program, complete thinking for change, but also, you know, you need family support. This is hard. Being out is hard after you've been in prison as long as you have. You've got to have family support. You've got to have a whole lot of people around you who are willing to help you when things get tough. And so today my vote is going to be to deny. But like Ms. Renata says, keep working and reapply again when you're eligible, and you may get a different result. But today my vote is to deny. Good luck to you, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Wilson, my vote is the same, but for different reasons. First of all, we have expressed opposition from the District Attorney's Office in the 18th JDC. You have law enforcement opposition, and which is more important, your static 99 is a +2. And you have a moderate needs on your Tiger score. In the lack of education, I think you're a risk to public safety. You've been convicted twice for sexual abuse on females, and you haven't received the education that you need to eliminate that as a possibility in the future. So based on a static 99, which is a +2, and a moderate needs assessment, I'm going to deny your request for early release. You have received 3 votes to deny your request. Your request has been denied. You have a good day.
You know, his full-time date is 2041. And it's quite remarkable the way that these crimes are handled. Someone commits a crime like this, where you do this to a woman and they take it quite lightly, the court system. What did he get? 8 years, 7 years? Where he then gets out and then does it again. And I just don't understand how the legislator thinks that it's just not a big deal. It's mind-boggling to me. And I know the laws are constantly changing and the legislation is constantly changing. And we have seen people get life sentences. We see people get slap on the wrist, and there's a lot of different circumstances that go into it. Sometimes you just have a cowardly DA. Sometimes you have uncooperating victims. There's a lot of things. I get that. But the idea that you can spend more time locked up for purse snatching or for distribution or for possession than you can for altering the life of someone and really making generational changes because of your complete selfishness. And so they let him out. He immediately does it again. He spends all this time in prison. I think that he's only eligible for parole because of Act 122, which was legislation that was passed which was lobbied hard by the Parole Project, and passed. It was like a bipartisan, almost like, everyone voted on it. And what it does is that it allows anyone who has served more than 20 years of their sentence and above the age of 40 to be eligible for parole. Now that is, I think, a good piece of legislation if it's targeted around someone who's serving a life sentence but has never harmed anyone, right? They had 3 strikes in the 90s for possession, and now they're spending life in prison. But for someone who is clearly a risk to society, as Mr. Richet laid out the reasons why he is against this parole, then it is when you think about those facts and you think about that, all of these, that you had the majority of politicians that are voted into office that just sign this document, Act 122, which should have clearly had clauses that would block certain offenders from qualifying under the umbrella of Act 122. And they initially were in there, no violent offenders and no sex offenders, but it was amended to allow that. Why? I don't know. But that idea that Act 122 was signed and that it's creating all of this risk to citizens, not to mention all of the pain for all of the parole hearings that we continue to see, where the families have signed deals with the state where they believe that they were signing a deal so that they wouldn't have to deal with their monster, so to speak. And now they have to. And it's just mind-boggling. It's like when you see it as clear as day how this has happened and how all of these politicians signed this bill into existence with complete disregard for the safety and their feelings of the constituency. It's insane. I think it's nothing short of insane, criminal, if anything. It's just, when you understand it, when you see it as clear as day, it's just, how is it possible? But follow the money. I mean, a lot of it has to do with moving older inmates out of prisons, which are, many of them are publicly traded. It's moving the dollars around. Really, you put often the dollars are moving from one, like when it's the parole project, there's moving to the parole project. But it's, thank goodness the parole is denied. Someone like this cannot be in society. You can't have a violent crime like this and twice that you're caught. How can you risk doing it to someone else? You just can't. You can't do that. Anyways, not that, his interview, I don't know if it's an IQ thing. They should definitely, sometimes they have IQ tests, sometimes they don't. But if you probably should start doing that so you can at least understand on what context you're dealing with. If someone is intellectually unable to digest information in a classroom setting and repeat it, at least you would understand that that's the cause versus maybe just not caring. But even then, I don't think it makes a difference, right? This is a second-time offender. But yeah, thank you, Richard, for this info. And with that, move on.
21, classified as a third felony offender, offense simple rape, contraband type 1, and contraband. Sentencing dates: December 27, 2011, January 16, 2013, and May 20th, 2019. Sentenced to 12 years with DOC hard labor, 2 years with DOC to run consecutive with the other dockets, and the last one, 2 years with DOC. Parole date is October 27, 2021. Good time is March 23rd, 2022. And full term is October 27, 2024. Is this information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Kelsey?
Hey, Mr. Robertson, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning. I'm all right.
Tell me how long you've been incarcerated.
I've been incarcerated going on 13 years. This year, October 27, 2021, I will be incarcerated 13 years.
And how old are you?
I'm 29.
So how old were you when you committed this crime?
I was 17.
Do you have a GED or did you graduate from high school?
No, sir.
No to neither. You didn't graduate or you don't have a GED?
No, sir. I have not graduated. I have a GED yet.
You're working on your GED?
At this time, due to the pandemic, like the classes are not running, but I was like interested. I signed up for it and took the TABE test to get into the classes, but the pandemic got everything slowed up.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty appropriate for you. I think that's important for you to get your GED. That would be something that you really need to work on and try to get that taken care of. What
Yes.
Tell me when your last disciplinary. I see you had in 18 you had a synthetic marijuana contraband. Is that the last write-up you've had, or have you had something since then?
That's the last write-up I had.
And when was that?
It was at Richwood in Monroe. I had got caught with a little marijuana. At that time, like I had like promised my mom and my family that I'd do right from that time forward. And like right now, this is what I have to prove. I have not been in trouble ever since. I started off on a rough road, like trying to prove myself to other people, for being young. The charge I have, I was trying to like do it for them, but it came to a time where,
All right, go ahead.
I promised my mom I'd do right. And 3 years later, I have not been in any trouble. I just want to go home to my family.
Well, tell me, it looks like are you in the Steve Hall program? Have you completed the Steve Hall program? Tell me tell me a little bit about that.
I was in the camp, just living the bad way, and I found out about the Steve Hall program, and I signed up for it. 9 months later, I completed it. I didn't receive any credit. I thought I was gonna go home, due to my good time credit, due to my charge. I was disappointed that I couldn't receive no credit, so it hurt me. And I didn't let that keep me down. I still kind of like strive for success, and to do better, and I just stayed with it, and then I filed the parole thing. I filed parole, and I filed for it. I just.
So did you take the Steve Hall program initially only because you thought you were going to be a good time? Did you take it because you thought you needed it? Why did you get in?
I came here because like the life that I was at, it was a facility where, you have people with 40 and 50 years and nobody cares. So I felt like I needed to get away. I needed a change. I needed a different environment. So I found out that this was where I needed to be, I needed to be here, to change, people that thinking for freedom and not just thinking for the moment. So I wanted to change.
So do you have a substance abuse problem, or you had one, or what?
I had one, but I'm over it. I changed. I don't do it. I don't do it no matter I have the urge to do it.
What was your drug of choice?
Marijuana.
Well, once an addict, you're always going to be an addict. That's something you have to deal with and strive for the rest of your life. You understand that?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm working on at this moment.
Now you got a pretty significant charge here. Simple rape charge. Have you had any type of sex offender treatment? Did you go through any of that, Steve Hall? I mean,
Yes, I was in the sex offender program. I was going through it, and the pandemic kind of like took us all out, and they was doing us through like the dorm treatment. I was in it, and I was trying to complete it, but the pandemic had hit, and they stopped everything, like, and let us do dorm treatment on the substance abuse, Steve Hoyle thing, and things like that.
how much sex offender did you have? Did you complete phase 1, phase 2, phase 3? What did you complete?
As soon as I entered the jail, they signed me up for it, and I came to class like 2 times. And when they gave us the books, they was like, the pandemic here, we can't come to class anymore until the pandemic clear up. So like I was waiting, but they never came back.
So did you complete any of that in Steve Hall?
I completed the Steve Hoyle program.
Was there any point? I'll talk to you to the folks there in the room in a minute. But did you take any? Was there any sex offender treatment as a part of that program?
Not a part of the Steve Hoyle program. The sex offender program is different. And it's
but you didn't get any of that, any aspects of that while you were in the Steve Hall program, right?
No, sir.
So what's your plans? Where you gonna go? What you gonna do if you were to be released early?
If I was to be released early, I would go to my family that you see right here with me. My mother, my sister, they support me. They ready for me to come home, and I want to go get a job. My family, gonna help me and teach me the things I need to know. I'm ready to take on responsibilities as a man. I come in as a child, but I'm ready to take responsibility as a man. I'm ready to live life and do right.
So what got you caught up in that crime? I read the crime. It's a terrible crime. And I see you don't really have a big long rap sheet. You got in trouble there and got in that mess. Of course, you got the contraband. But what was going through your mind whenever y'all took that girl, or the girl went with you, whatever the scenario was? What was going through your mind? Take me back to that moment.
We was young, me and a couple guys, we was young. We, we wasn't thinking. We was thinking as kids and not as grown-ups, and it's a moment that little moment that we wasn't thinking cost us our life. We do it, but we here, and I'm like I had a part of playing in it. I accept my responsibility, I accept my part of for being there at the moment, and it's just a moment. Like after 13 years, I don't hold no regret. I don't blame anyone. I take full responsibility. I messed up. I made the choice. I made the choice, and it was a choice that cost me a couple years of my life. But this couple years of my life, will for sure not leave me back in prison. I will not come back. This right here, it taught me a lesson. It's a lesson learned. It's just a lesson learned for me. And it just was a mistake. And I'm here, and I'm just ready to go home.
Well, I mean, I see, you told me Joe made a mistake. I mean, it affected your life. How you think it affected that girl?
From that moment, I'm pretty sure she have, going through things herself, for that night. She going through it, and it's something that she won't forget. And I'm sorry that I had a part of playing in it, but it wasn't my intention to hurt anyone. It wasn't.
I'm sure she had probably had a lot going through her own issues, but I mean, it wasn't her fault, was it?
No, it was not her fault. I don't blame her. We was young kids, and we was thinking only for the moment. We was thinking only for the moment, and I don't blame her at all. she did, she did what she's supposed to do as a woman, and even though we didn't take advantage of her or anything, it's still, we was wrong in some way, not the way that we was wrong, because we should have known, we should have known,
Well, I hear you saying you didn't take advantage, nobody took advantage, but you got charged with simple rape. You pled to charges. That's a crime. So you committed a crime. Whether you want to say you did or did not, you pled. Did you not plead, or did you go to trial?
I went to trial.
Okay, and you were found guilty. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So that's a crime. I mean, the way I see it, whether you pled or whether you went to trial.
Yes, sir.
Did staff have any input there for me in the facility?
He did complete the program, November of 20. He had his write-ups. He did not complete the sex offender treatment. He did not test out phase 1 because due to COVID, we was doing indoor treatment and we wasn't testing them during that time. But he does have the opportunity now to roll back in the sex offender program.
Okay.
And also, he can also enroll in a GED program too.
Right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, it still looks like you've been doing good. You definitely looks like you've turned the corner. I can see that. My concern, I'm gonna be honest with you, is the fact that you got this charge and that sex offender. That's just not, I get it. COVID happened, but that's kind of an issue for me right now. I mean, I'd like to see you get that and then get out. We'll talk. We can continue to talk about that. I'd like for you to work on your GED, whether you work on it now or get home. You need your GED. That's something that's critical to you, no matter what you do. Again, the sex offender for me is something that I really would like to see you have. But we'll see. We'll hear from Miss Pearl Wise. Okay.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
I just want to inform you, as a part of this process, probation parole reached out to the victim to get her opinion about early release. And I want you to know your victim is unopposed to your early release. There was some indication that she felt like you had served enough time. I just wanted you to know that.
Yes, ma'am.
But on the other hand, all law enforcement is opposed to your early release. That's judge, PA, PD, and all that. They're all opposed to your early release. There's nothing you can do about that. I just want to ask could he finish the sex offender in 9 months, treatment in 9 months?
I think it take 3 months just to finish.
Yeah, he can finish it in 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah, he can. He can at least finish with phase 1 and test.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted. And the GED is kind of like, do you happen to know what level did he test at when he did the TABE score? Where was he at?
I don't, but Ms. Wallace would have that information. So I'm pretty sure she would know what I can find out from her.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I thought you already had it. That's okay. Oh, that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now we'll hear from Ms. Terry. Mr. Terry, Miss Stephanie. Your mama. I'm sorry. Mute on.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead and make
I'm
a
Ralph's
statement.
mother. At the time of the incident where Ralph got into it with the simple rape charge, I haven't been the same. I'm his adopted mother. I adopted him. He's a good kid, y'all. He is a good kid, let me tell you. He wanted to hang out with his cousins. That's how he ended up in the situation. I was the type of mother wouldn't let him go nowhere. But the cousin, I trusted my child with the cousin. And that's how he ended up in jail, in this predicament. I'm one of those mothers, I was a single parent, and I'm hard on my kids. And I've been sick since Ralph went to jail because it was uncalled for. And I've been fought myself really, because I should have just stuck with not letting him go anywhere. But when it was a family member, I just assumed, okay, he's going with family, it's gonna be okay. Right now, if y'all let him come home, he has a place. I'm in Houston, Texas, and I wish he could come. I want him to come here because I left Louisiana thinking that my child's gonna get out this year and we would be able to leave that life, leave the family, his family, not my family. His mother's family is how he got in trouble. I moved so my child could have a better life. It's been a long time. His nieces and nephews have grown up. They're 17, 18 years old. They was babies when he went to jail. It just hurts me to see him crying because I mean, he never put this charge on nobody. He said, "Mama, I accept my fate. I accept it. You know, I'm not gonna." He has never said somebody else is somebody else's fault. He has never done that. You know, and if y'all let him come home, I'm sure we could get him in a GED. My son already is trying to get him a job. I mean, he's a good kid. He just got, it's just hanging with the wrong people, you know. And I used to always tell him, and my stepdad I always tell him, trouble is easy to get into, hard to get out of. You know, and that's all I have to say. And this is my husband right here, Terry.
All right, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
The only thing that I can add to that is, if he is allowed to be released, if he is allowed to come to Houston, he has a home that is drug-free, that is stable, and he has love. He will not only have loving parents, but he will also have loving relatives like my stepdaughter, my wife's daughter. I have children and grandchildren of my own that would love him and take care of him, and he would have a stable home life here, free of any of the temptations of any that got him in to where he is to begin with.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, Ralph, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
I just want to say I really hope I can make parole, but if I'm not, if you all can recommend me to a re-entry program, you know, to a re-entry program, I'm willing to go through the re-entry program, the pre-release program, you know. I have 7 months left, 7 to 8 months left if I'm not released. If I'm not released on parole, I'll be released in March of next year. You know, I would not hurt anyone. I don't have ill feelings towards anyone. I just want to live my life, get to my family, and start taking responsibilities as a man and do right. I want to do right. You know, the sex offender program, I have $2,000 on my account. The program, I would pay for every program I need to pay for to enter, to get this treatment done. I just want to live my life. And, you know, I've been talking to my co-defendant, one of the guys that's on the charge with me. He's free. He's been free 5 years now. And I've been asking him questions like, if I was to make parole, like, what do I have to do? Like, what do I have to, what I expect? He was like, you just have to finish them programs. Like, it's gonna cost money to go to the program. And I'm like, I'll pay that. I'm like, I just wanna be home. I just wanna be with my family, you know? I've been incarcerated a long time, a long time. It's been hard throughout the time, but I have got my things together. Like, these last 2.5, 3 years, I have changed. And I pray that you all can see that I have changed, and I'm willing to do better. And if I have to take the program, I'm willing to take that program. I'm willing to pay. I just want to be home. I'm ready for my family. I'm ready to do right. That's all I have to say. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Is a panel prepared to vote? I'll go first, Ralph. We, listen, you definitely are. I mean, you definitely turned a corner. I hear what you're saying. Obviously, you've done well since your last contraband. You sound like you definitely have a good family that's waiting for you. I would obviously encourage you when you do get out, to go to Texas with your family. That's where you need to be with your mom and stepdad. You need to be in Texas. You need to move on and start your life over and get things going. Again, your hard work is I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But consistently, me being consistent as I have, we need to make sure you have all the tools you have to be successful. You do still have some opposition. The sex offender class is important to me. For this charge, it is important for me that you get. I know it's not your fault, but at least you were able to get Steve Hall, and that's helped you. The things you've done in there are helping to mold you and change you and keep you out of there. So my vote would be to deny your parole, to complete the sex offender treatment. As soon as you get done with that, then you're out. You can work on your GED. If you don't, whatever you don't get finished, then you can get out here. Again, we want to make sure you stay out. We don't want to just get you out. I know you want to just get out, but sometimes that this is what it takes. And the sex offender, me being consistent with the way I've always been, that's important to me on this charge. So I would vote to deny parole just because you hadn't completed the sex offender. You're doing great. I think you got a positive mindset. You're going to be successful. Gives you time to work on your ICOTS to get to Texas and do the things you need to do. But my vote is to deny. You do have law enforcement opposition in a moderate Tiger school. Ms. Wise.
All right, Ralph, I feel a little different about your situation. We just got some news this morning that the programs are open up. So I'm excited to hear that. And I hope that my vote is to grant after you complete the sex offender treatment program and enroll in your GED. And like you were saying, though, you might not have quite 9 months before your good time date. But I'm sure the staff will work with you on that. It's kind of right together. But my vote is to grant after you complete the sex offender treatment program and you be enrolled in the GED. And as a part of your release, you start the ICOTS to Texas. I want you to transition to Texas. My rationale is because you have no victim opposition. The victim is not opposed. You're released. You got outstanding family support. You really do. And that is my vote.
That's Mr. Marabella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Robertson, I do want to commend you for the hard work that you've done. I was a little concerned when you started talking about going to Steve Hall and why you went to Steve Hall, but after you explained it, I understood it. You wanted to get away from a crowd. You wanted to better yourself, and you did. And I think that Steve Hall program is an excellent program. I agree with both of my colleagues. I think you're ready to get out, but I also think you need sex offender programs. So I fall exactly the same as both of them, and I think both of their votes are basically the same because you're going to be getting out about the same time. So I'm not sure how to style my vote. I want you to be able to get into a sex offender program before you're able to get out in March, and you're going to get out in March. So I don't know if my vote to deny and recommend sex offender treatment will help you get in there, or vote to grant and make it a condition. But I think we need 3 votes because it's a sex offense to be able to agree. So my vote today would be to deny, but to recommend that the people there assist you in getting into a sex offender program. And even if you don't finish that program, there's some good things you can learn. I wasn't completely happy with your answers about what effect this had on the victim. Even though the victim is unopposed to your getting out, that young woman suffered a lot. And you need to understand before you get out what that means and what she actually suffered and what victims go through. So that's critical. So either way, you're going to get out in March. So good luck to you. I hope you're able to get into a program that's able to help you. So good luck to you. You got some wonderful support. I know your family is going to help you. And I also encourage you to fill out your paperwork to get to Texas. So good luck to you, sir.
All right, Jeff. 2 votes to deny and 1 to grant. It's going to be denied. Staff, can y'all make sure that he gets in the sex offender treatment? Can we get that? Can we make sure he starts that immediately?
I'm gonna start on Friday.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So you have 2 votes to deny, 1 to grant. Your parole's been denied today. Thank you and good luck to you. And we'll adjourn at Bossier at 9:06. You'll have.
Yeah, so we're about to go over the appeal, the court transcripts, but man, from his interview, I didn't hear anything that indicated that he felt he did anything. What did he say? I have no regrets. I wouldn't change anything. Is that what he said? It seemed like he was kind of just blaming everything on everyone else. That's certainly what his adopted mother was doing. I never let him out of the house ever. I let him out with his cousin because it's his cousin. And then this, it's just like, come on, like, now the whole trial was whether or not it was consensual or not consensual. And what it was 5 men, boys, they were different ages, and this young woman, and it went on for basically hours and hours and hours, and their whole defense was that it was consensual, and she of course was saying that it absolutely wasn't. It is interesting to hear her now say that she's not opposed to his release. That's quite unique, and this, I'm not going to go over all of the information. It's just incredibly graphic, and I don't have the stomach for it, but I'll go over some of it, and I'll put the link in the description. And Richard, thank you for putting this together. There are also a bunch of articles that are blocked by a paywall, but how it started is that, and she was out of state. She's not from Louisiana. So she was in Louisiana for like a party, like a festival. And like 2 a.m, she was walking with some friends, and they saw her and they said, "Hey, do you want to go smoke?" And she said, "Okay," got in the car. But then at that point she said, "I don't want to go." But they drove away and they left her friends. And when they go through the court documents, it happens to be that she was completely sober. And they try to use that against her, saying, look, she was sober. No one was taking advantage of her. This was consensual. So, but the evidence shows that the defendant and others overpowered AE for several hours, during which they subjected her to various abuses. The record is replete with instances of protest and resistance by AE and non-consensual acts. At the very outset, AE's meeting with the defendant and others, AE told them she did not want to go with them in the car. AE testified that when she opened the car door to get out, they closed it and locked it and drove off. She stated that at this point, she felt terror and dread. The defendant himself testified that AE did not want to go with them. Oh, okay. There you go. He stated she said she did not want to go and wanted to be with her friends, but Peyton told AE, "No, we're going to have fun. We're just chilling." AE testified that when Peyton sexually assaulted her in the driveway for the first time, she realized that resistance was not going to prevent it. Question. Now, this is like she's on the witness stand. Is that something you wanted to happen? Answer, no. Did you give her permission to do that? Answer, I did not. And I actually, at this point, said that I didn't want this to happen. And I remember there was a little physical, like pushing resistance. And I just kind of stopped as soon as I knew he was proceeding. And why did you? It's a question. Why did you? Answer, there was really nothing I felt I could do. Question, why did you feel that way? Answer, because I'm a girl and there's 5 men and there's one, man in the car. but I knew, there were guys standing out front. I could have easily been overpowered by one, let alone 5. AE testified that after Peyton ejaculated, another guy came into the car and forced her to give him oral. AE did not identify this person, but according to the defendant's testimony, it was he and Troy who got into the car after Peyton and AE to perform oral on both of them. The defendant also admitted that when Cooper was, it was just a full on, Then they took her into the trailer. What happened when we got in the trailer? Well, there were 2 other men in the trailer. One was kind of a bigger guy with short dreads. As soon as it got there, I was led into the back bedroom. And over the course of a few hours, this is all just kind of like muddled now in my head. I don't really know the details or who did what. That when all I know for a fact is that they all assaulted me. Was all I can say for a fact. But I remember going to the bedroom and just time after time for hours having somebody inside me. It's like they all took turns. Question, while this was going on, did you try to put up a fight, put up a physical resistance against them? Answer, there was no physical resistance. In the beginning, I remember there was verbal resistance. I was obviously upset that this was happening. I had said no. I remember, one would finish and another would start to begin. And I just remember saying no. And then another thing I would say would be, are you serious? Yeah. Question. At what point during this evening or into these early morning hours did you begin to fear for your life? Answer. I feared for my life the moment I got into the car, and not in a particular point there. The bigger guy in the dreads, I hadn't done anything with him yet. And I was, the whole time I was obviously pleading that they take me back and, to use a phone to call my friends. And they told me that they take me back, but they needed gas money. And the only way they could get gas money is if the bigger guy would give it to them. But he looked at me and said, have you ever given something for nothing? And he was, pretty much implying that he wanted something from me. And at that point, I refused. He pulled out a gun and opened it so I could see there were bullets inside. He said, I kill people. Do you want to die tonight? Question. How did you respond to that? I said no. So he took me to the bedroom and forced me to perform oral on him. It goes on and on and on. And what happened is that eventually they dropped her off at a gas station. They called her friends. And when she got to the gas station, she had them call the police and said that what had happened. I'll put the link in the description. But, hearing this case, I think you would just think that, what did they say? Oh, you have great family. It's like, no, you have a family that's in denial and just blaming everyone else. It's just kind of, but yeah, you might not believe it if you didn't see it. I thought that was the least, one of the, not the least, we've seen so many, but there was it was I felt zero accountability, and I didn't seem like the board really latched onto that to me. But I'll put the link in the description. Thank you, Richard. And with that, I'll let you go.